Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to our local level 4 advanced academic programs meeting tonight. We just wanted to share some exciting news that we are about to embark on a really good journey of having local level 4 advanced academic curriculum served at our school. So tonight I'd like to start by introducing ourselves, and I am Felicia Drake, principal.
Okay.
I'm Keith Hirsch, assistant principal.
And I'm Chris Fisher, advanced academics teacher.
And we also have a special guest with us tonight.
Good evening. My name is Kirsten Maloney. I am the coordinator of advanced academic programs, and I'm just going to be able to join for the first part of tonight. But thank you all for having me.
So thank you all for coming again. And as we said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Ms. Fisher, if you could go ahead and advance us. So one of the things, our theme this year is Never Stop Growing, Cultivating Curiosity. And as you can see, we have really big dreams for our Mighty Red Birds. And this opportunity that we've been given by the county is so exciting. So we're looking forward to sharing. We will go through the slides. The chat is open. So as we go, if you have questions, you can type something in the chat or you can raise your hand. But we're trying to go ahead. We don't want to keep you too long. There is a school board meeting tonight, and some of you may want to view that as well. So we will go ahead to our next slide.
All right, so tonight we'll try to hit on some of these points here. As you can see, we will give background of the FCPS AAP program. Some of you are familiar with it, and some of you are not. We'll introduce the highlights about Level 4 Advanced Academics. We'll explain the benefits of having a local Level 4 at our school. We'll describe what it might look like, and key answer there is might, as we're just in the beginning processes of putting it all together. We had a great meeting yesterday with Kirsten and some other people, some other schools that are starting the program like us, and it's really a many-pronged journey for us, and we're just starting it. We'll answer questions you may have, and then we'll share how you guys can help us get this program rolling. Chris, you can go on.
Yep. All righty. All right, so take a moment to read this statement. It's really powerful, and then I'll just encapsulate it once you're finished. Alrighty, so we really want to focus on nurturing that potential giftedness in our Mighty Redbirds. So we see that promise that these students have, and we really are trying our best to fulfill those probabilities. So we're really noticing and trying to service these children at a level of service that meets their needs. So we're intentional with matching curriculum as well, and that's what excites us so greatly about local level 4 opportunities. We can really do that more so.
So we wanted to give you an opportunity. I think that many people are familiar with the Fairfax County advanced academic programs. And one thing that I know over the years that has kind of changed, and I'm glad to see it hasn't changed, but the county is advertising a little bit more, is that the advanced academic program is really looking at two main goals. We're looking at talent development. And so if you kind of look at the bubbles, you can read those. We want kids to be excited about learning. We want to make sure that they're understanding their goals and they know their strengths and their identity. We also, one kid says we're learning PLG skills, portrait of a graduate skills, advocating for yourself, and just igniting their future as they are becoming learners. So we know that in order to kind of get to our goals, we have to give opportunity. And our goal in Fairfax County and all over and in Cardinal Forest is to make sure that every child is given the opportunity to unlock their potential. So under talent development, you can kind of look at the yellow, and it kind of shows you what we're doing. We're providing students with access to AP, curriculum and strategy, scaffolding for success. In other words, giving kids an entry point for where they are. We're identifying and nurturing strengths and interests, and we're exploring possible career connections. One of the things that we know about kids is sometimes we want to make sure that they see other people in careers. If they have an interest in science, then we might be able to help them research and develop other careers that are in science. Maybe they like art and science. What kind of careers can go towards that? So giving them opportunities. We're making sure that we are culturally responsive, and we're teaching principles and cultivating attitudes and mindsets that empower students. And we're also implementing the Young Scholars model, which is where we are monitoring access and achievement for in advanced academics for all students. So that's kind of the talent development part. You can kind of see that piece. And then the other part, Chris, and you can help me with this part too, we're really looking at differentiation to meet the needs of advanced learners. So later I'm going to show you where we stand at Cardinal Forest as far as our levels. But level one, it's kind of the kids that are identified as level one, they're getting tier one, and tier one is the education that all students access, and they're getting tier one access of the curriculum strategies. Level two talks about, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, I was just going to add to that. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Didn't mean to interrupt. So
No,
level
please.
one services. So Ms. Drake is especially conscious and aware of offering advanced services strategies for critical thinking for all of our students. So our level one, we've really ramped it up, and we're really trying to meet the needs of all those students through those level one services through the classroom teachers, and working with those teachers and really offering them some guidance and some practice with curriculum. And we've got a lot of teachers that are now taking classes and coursework so that they're even more informed. We're moving into level two services. That's with more of an intentional focus on a content area, a math, language arts. The great news is we've got, I'm in specials, critical thinking specials, grades K through 6. So every single child in our building has access to that, those strategies and those higher level thinking strategies in the curriculum through specials. So we do that. And aside from that, I plan with the classroom teachers so that they are intentional about adding rigor to their classwork for all students, but really intentionally targeting those level two services for those students. And then we're moving into level three services, and this is where we have increased access for specific peer groups. And these students meet with us an hour a week, and then they work on their own through Google Classroom with me for the remainder of the week. We've just got an amazing group of kids that we've got so many children that are accessing this point. And it's all based on the needs of the kids. So as their needs change, we try to meet those needs. And then level four services, as you may be aware, at this point, those students found eligible and opting to go through that curriculum are going to Keene Mill. And this is where our excitement lands, that we get to keep those as an option, keep those at Cardinal Forest for third grade. So we're super excited about that. Anything you wanted to add to that, Felicia?
No, I think it's well. Our goal, and Kirsten and I have worked together for a while, and Mr. Hirsch and Mrs. Fisher, we all have the same goal of unlocking that potential for all of our kids. So the next slide kind of goes through a little bit. It's the same, but it talks about the multiple entry points. So if you look at we're looking at increasing the amount of time that students are having those opportunities. And if you look, it says some, part, or full time. Level 4 is that full time, which we currently do not have at our building. but looking forward to opening that up. And then the increased intensity. So we just wanted to kind of, and you have access to this slide, and we are recording, so I will send that out as well. Chris, you can go ahead.
Mhm. Next slide. Okay. All right. And so this is our this is the advanced academics program overview. So as you can see, we've got critical and creative strategies are our level 1, and then differentiated lessons in areas of strength for level 2, the part-time advanced academics level 3, and full-time. I think it's important to note. I'm sorry. I think it's important to note here that it is not a stepping stone. Kids don't need to go through level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. It's not a journey, this must be done first. It's really where is that entry point that meets the needs of that specific child. So we're really intentional, and the screening we do with our building and behind those closed doors is so intensive with the classroom teachers on what best meets this specific child's needs. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind that the entry points matter and are dependent on each child. And then we've got the middle school program, which we'll talk with at another time if anybody's got an interest in moving towards that. And then, of course, the high school selections. Are there any questions about this slide or what you've heard before? Okay.
So one of the things we really feel that's important at Cardinal Forest, as we continue to say, and you will hear Mr. Hirsch and all of our staff talking about this consistently, we want all of our students to have access. So one of the things that we did, Mr. Hirsch and I decided to do this year is, as part of our where are we as a school, we wanted to know what our demographics was like for our AAP students. So this graph, you can kind of see our ELP, our English learners, we have at our school, we have 27%. That's how many students are lucky enough to have another language. And out of that 27%, 20% of, not out of that, but 20% of our AAP students are ELP students. We also have 14% special ed, and in our AAP population, we have a 10%. It's not 10% of, it's 10% of our students in AAP have a is a student with disability. As far as our Asian population, in our school, we have 11% of our demographics are Asian. Students have identified as Asian. In our AAP population or demographics, we have 14% of our AAP students are identified as Asian. In our school, we have 13% of our students who have been identified as Black or African American. And out of all of our AAP students, 9% are identified as Black out of the students that receive AAP. And you can kind of see the trend. Hispanic, we have 24% in our school out of our 687 kids. Out of our AAP students, we have 15%. Students who identify as 2 or more, we have 9%, 11%. And then our white students, we have a population of 42%. And then in our population of AAP, we have 51% of our students who are white. So one of the things we're looking at as a school is kind of equaling out that, that the demographics. What we were really proud of is that every part of our population or our demographics, we have people accessing the advanced academic curriculum or program in all of our areas. But we notice that we have a higher percentage of white students, but we also have a higher percentage identified as AAP. So we want to kind of give that opportunity and access to everyone. Thank you, Chris. You can go to the next one. Sure.
I think it's important. I think it's important to note too that well, I'll wait for that. It's on.
No, go ahead. The ELP levels 1 through 4.
Well, I was just going to say that we are really, this year we've opted, or last year too, we've opted to have all of our students who are young scholars participate in our level 3 services. So we were just really intentional with taking those students and nurturing that potential. And we are aware that level 3 services would not be the appropriate placement at the beginning, but we've nurtured these students, most of them since grade K. And so through discussion and conferencing with teachers and looking at samples and such, we are noticing a trend that they are rising to the occasion, so that we have provided them services. And I'm telling you, it's just a beautiful thing to see. You know, you offer, they come. So with that being said, we're really reaching out and trying to service them, just do our best for kids.
Yes.
All right. So one of the things that we are learning, everyone is learning on the fly, including parents as well, is that this quote here: intelligence is not how much you know or how fast you learn it, but how you behave when you don't know the answer. And, you know, in our math program now, what we have is we have what we call math number talks, where kids really have to work through the problem, and there are multiple answers, and we're trying to get kids to expand so that the days of, you know, the worksheet and the, you know, the knowing your timetables and how many you can do in a minute, while it's important, it's not the most important. It's important to have kids talk to each other about what they think is the correct answer or not, and then if they don't know the right answer, how they got to that answer, and have kids dig deeper, as we like to say. So the traditional view is, you know, everyone sit at your desk and work by yourself, and it's changing, and it's more of a talking, and it's more of a working, collaborating with your classmates and with your teachers as well. So what is level 4? So right now it's located in, level 4 services are located in 28 elementary schools in Fairfax County and 12 middle schools. 67 elementary schools offer local level 4 services in 2021. Kirsten, are you still here?
I am still here.
Why don't you share what the goal is of Fairfax County and
Sure.
like where we are right now? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. No. So we have a lot of advanced academic goals in the district strategic plan. And one of them Ms. Drake already talked to you about, which is that access for all of our students to curriculum. And another one is that we want to make sure that all of our schools have access to level 4 services for students so that they wouldn't have to make a choice to leave their neighborhood school. There's a lot of reasons why this is really important. It's important for you as families because, you know, most families, I think it's about 67% of our families, when they have a choice between local level 4 and a center school, they do choose to stay in their neighborhood school. They don't want to have to leave friends and take longer bus rides and things like that. So it offers that advantage, and it also offers a lot of advantages to your local school community in terms of increasing access to the curriculum just to the whole school. So we're pretty excited about this. We went through an external program review with 4 researchers last year, and one of their major equity recommendations was this expansion, and we're on a 3-year phase-in to try to have access to level 4 at all of our schools that don't yet have it. So we have it at 28 plus 67. We've still got about 45 schools to go, and we have a plan to do that in 3 years. So Cardinal Forest, I think, has been gearing up. I've worked really closely with both Ms. Drake and Ms. Fisher over the past number of years, and they've been doing so much to get teachers ready for this. So I'm really excited that they signed up, even in a pandemic, to gear up with doing this for next year.
Thanks, Kirsten. And the thing is, we know, I mean, I've been in, this is my 11th year as an AP, but only my 3rd year here at Cardinal Forest, and the conversation I have all the time with parents as they're making that decision is, it's such an individual decision. It's up to, and it's very, very important to have your child involved in that decision, in that discussion, because this is a family decision, and some may have siblings that go, some may not, and you always want to do what's best for the kids. But I will say, and it's very important, like, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We definitely would love everyone that qualified to stay. But if you go and you know it's not for you, we're not going anywhere. So we want to make that clear. But we feel, you know, I told Ms. Drake when I came here 3 years ago, Cardinal Forest is like a sleeping giant. It's tucked here in the neighborhood, and there's so much that we have to offer, and this is such an important step for our school and our community. It's not an easy process, but it's something that our teachers are really, really looking forward to. And, you know, it starts in the 3rd grade, and, you know, our 3rd grade teachers are all on board for this. And it's so that's the first step, is getting the buy-in. And the buy-in is really, when we told our 3rd grade team and 4th grade team, because it's going to be coming their way soon, they were so happy about it. So that's really where we're going as a school. Chris, you could go on.
Yeah. Alrighty. So both Kirsten and Keith have talked about the whys. It's really our intention, and this program offers us the ability to honor those levels of service to meet the needs of students who are found eligible for level 4 services, to honor that through a program that's a full-time curriculum with advanced academics. It increases rigor, not only for those students as they stay, because it becomes a full-time gifted program, but also those kids invited into that program. It increases their rigor. We're finding kids who are ready for that next level of rigor. And it also, as we talked about, has different access points, entry points for multiple students. Are there any questions on this slide before I move on to the next? Okay. All right. So center eligible students, they have that option of remaining at Cardinal Forest and receiving level 4 services. It's huge. I've taught in a local level 4 school. I was a local level 4 3rd grade teacher. It is huge to have that option. Center eligible students are instructed by an advanced academics qualified teacher. So our classroom teacher who becomes that center teacher has the same curriculum resources and the same professional development with other level 4 teachers in the county. And the flexible grouping, so this is an area that we can discuss in a tad. It's just meeting those specific areas of need for each kid. And then the teachers implement the level 4 center curriculum framework. So this is a framework that I guess it parallels, but it's got that intensified rigor added to the 3rd grade curriculum. So it's more in depth. So we'll speak to that in a bit as well. Yes.
Thank you for giving me this chance. I'm one of the parents who has always tried to encourage or get my kids assessed for an AAP, and I just wanted to know how you make that determination, because over the years I'm also looking at the graph. You may also pull it up, the graph that shows you know, the percentage of kids who are actually in the AAP, and it's really fantastic to see that all other you know, races are actually very low, and maybe you'd like to explain why that is happening. Is there anything to do with the race, and why is that happening?
No, I think one of the things, to be very honest with you, this is my 31st year in the county as an educator, and these demographics do not look bad compared to the county. We actually are doing, we're fully represented. One of the things that I believe in, as a mom of 2 sons, one who, not in Fairfax County, but one who was identified and one who was not, both very bright. Part of it is dealing with getting parents to, like, just like this meeting. Most of you, as I look at your names, most of you are kind of familiar with AAP. We need to do better with getting all of our families familiar with the process. So that's what we're trying to build up as well. This is the first of many meetings, but we would like to make sure all of our families have access and know the process and know how to get to advocate for their families and their students. So I do think, Ms. Muna, you are absolutely right. We are trying to make sure everyone has access, but it's still a process for us. Does that make sense? You're muted.
Timeliness is very important because the kids, I mean, they only have a certain age, I mean, a certain time in the school. So when that time is passed, then it's actually a lost time. And I don't know how you would account for the lost opportune times. And these are kids that would need the immediate assessment and then immediate placement. I know that it's a progress, but at the same time, it needs very close follow-up. It's more like a hospital, a checkup.
Right.
I don't know what it takes, but that determination needs to happen.
If I-
And I think that's why Fairfax County went ahead and did the research and had an outside company come look at our AAP and give us some suggestions. I am right with you. We want to make sure that everybody has access. That's why at our lower levels, we have Ms. Fisher doing the Critical and Creative Thinkers Lab. That's not something that all schools have, but it's growing. Kirsten and her office have really given us a lot of professional development so that all kids are getting that entry point in. The other thing is that we can also, kids can self-select as they get older, but in our elementary ages, if you go to our Twitter, you'll see our pre-K students and our preschool students accessing critical and creative thinking strategies. So it's not perfect, Ms. Muna, but we are getting there, okay? And we're happy to talk to you. I want to kind of get through everything, but we're happy to talk to you offline. You're doing the first thing, which is advocating for your student, which is wonderful, and all of our students. The other piece that I want to kind of tell the whole community is that as we look at we have a equity team in our school, and we've expanded that, and this is one of the areas that we're looking at as well, to make sure that there are equitable pieces for all of our students. Thank you. Kirsten just put that research in. And again, this is being recorded. Go ahead, Kirsten.
No, I just thank you for sharing that. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time. I do have, I'm scooting to another school now, so I just wanted to say thank you and offer that I know you all have it well under control in Cardinal Forest, but either through Ms. Drake and Ms. Fisher or anyone who wanted to reach out directly to me, I love to talk to people about our program. So just wanted to throw that out there, and thank you for letting me come for the beginning tonight, and I look forward to work with your school.
Thank you
so much.
And just one thing I want to say about Kirsten. I actually had the opportunity to work at a center school in Reston, and she is so personable that I had a student who was advocating for himself, and she came out and met with that student and listened to him. And that's the kind of person she is, and her whole office is that way. So if there are questions or things that you need, reach out to us, Ms. Fisher, Mr. Hirsch, myself. We are happy to have that conversation. There are experts, and they will definitely be able to help you if you have additional questions. So looking at the benefits of a local level 4 school, having your students stay, it raises the benefits of a community, rather, is some people think I have to make this decision, and if I go to a center school, I'll definitely know that all the peers have qualified for local level 4, so that's better. And we're not asking you to look at better, or we're asking you to look at what the benefit of a community is. When we have a community of students that are accessing local level 4 curriculum, it raises the level or the challenge for all students. It makes sure in our community we're going to get increased professional development, and kids get to stay within their community. So those are 3 points that we think will help in making the decision. Go ahead, Chris.
Alrighty. Alrighty. So the program of studies, we'll talk at this more in length at our next community meeting. But just know that our program of studies is differentiated through advanced academics curriculum. So there are extended standards that are provided that provide additional depth and complexity. So when we've got our grade 3 standards that we're teaching from, we've got these grade 3 extended standards that we're teaching from for level 4 services. Right, and we'll talk at more in length at our next community meeting.
So one of the things we wanted to kind of let you know too is that we do have curriculum for all of our, we follow curriculum for all of our standards. Within our curriculum, there is also curriculum for AAP levels 2 through 4. And there are some resources that we access, and there are some things, and you also have access to these. So Chris, can you just click under the curriculum resources for a minute? So this would be what our teachers are looking at, and these are some of the things. And we're going to go, we're going to talk about it, but she's going to go quickly. We are looking at having kind of another meeting where we can delve into these a little bit more.
Are you speaking, are you wanting to share?
Yes, the agenda, sorry. Let's do that first, Chris.
So this is an example of the agenda.
So when our teachers are planning activities, we call it the honeycomb, but we have our regular state standards, we have our program of studies, and then each grade, each subject matter gives us even more. So like this is what 3rd grade can look at. And I know you can't see that because I can't either, but you'll see what the goal is and how to go through. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry,
I don't know how to make that larger.
No, it's fine.
Oh, sorry, I just popped out of that. I'm going to put it on this screen. I think it might have been a little bit larger. So when I service students, I'm sorry, there's a lag for some reason, but when I service students for critical thinking, I only use curriculum from these addendas. I only use this differentiated curriculum. That's what I have to do. So anytime I go into a class or I'm conferencing with teachers, it's always from that perspective of what parts of this curriculum can I use, or which strategies can we embed. So behind the scenes, what you may not see is that planning component and that access to this curriculum that all students have, and then we differentiate to meet the needs of those kids. So these levels of these frameworks are what we look at when we say, oh my gosh, I've got kids that are meeting the needs of gen ed curriculum, what can I do? And then our conferencing starts and our discussions start and we start embedding. So these next few slides I'm going to go through rather quickly because this kind of takes it's a conversation on its own. These are curriculum that I use when I work with different grade levels. So we've got the William and Mary language arts units, and you can see we have just a plethora of units. And really by the time the kids are in 2nd grade and they use beyond words, it's such a consistent delivery. It's just, the language is consistent and it becomes familiar by the time those kids are in 4th grade and we throw out a title of a book like Literary Reflections and Patterns of Change, they get it. Like it's their language. So we're speaking their language very early. Jacob's Ladder.
Excuse me 1 second, Chris. So these are things that in our critical and creative Thinkers Lab that even kindergartners, that picture that you saw of Chris, that was a kindergarten group and they were doing Jacob's Ladder. But this is the curriculum that the local level 4 center uses full time and that we will now have access to use full time as well.
Mm-hmm. And so now all of our kids are tapping into it. And when you have that rigor of that local level 4, you've got that entire classroom plus those teachers on that grade level are planning together. And now we've got that 4th grade group also that is practicing for next year or for the following year. So it does increase, it increases it for rigor for all. So this is the Jacob's Ladder. We've got access to these different ladders. and the kids are very familiar with these ladders. And then we've got the Latin and Greek stems that we use. And Project Empathy, so we've got this, we really dig deep with this in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. We've also got the M squared for 2nd grade, and we've got it also for 1st grade and kindergarten. And so when they come into my critical thinking class, we are going through, for all grade levels, are touching base with this. And then we've got some Egypt and China grade 3. So the way this looks, this is really neat. These are, like, for example, this curriculum for Egypt and China mirrors the DBQ I do with level 3 services. And then I plan and co-teach with grade levels to deliver some of those components of the DBQ, which is a document-based questioning. You just dig deep into information, and it mirrors this curriculum. So it's, number one, the content students must learn anyway for that grade level, and now we just add rigor. So it all blends together. And then we've got some science units. And then all students have access to JSON. Once kids tap into here, we can't get them out. It is just, it's great for those kids that are hungry for information, specifically scientific information, researching. They've been known to go to Miss Ulrich and ask about researching. I know you taught it, I wasn't really listening. This was a student last year, I wasn't really paying attention, but I think I'm really gonna need it now because Mrs. Fisher introduced us to JSON. And so there's, now they're becoming advocates. But all kids have access to that. And so these are just samples. We have What to Find, Where's the Beach, Electricity City. These are really great standalone units, but they're also great. We can take parts out of them and blend them seamlessly into the grade level standards. And that really opens up that rigor for all kids. But again, we will definitely talk more in length at another time. All righty. Felicia, did you want to speak to this?
Yes, so we were just kind of looking at over time what we're trying to do with kids, and we want to kind of have students move in and out of their space of continuum. So we look at some students as they're learning something. They might be a novice learner at something, but other things they may be an expert at, and we're trying to kind of move people from being novice into an expert on things. One of the things our teachers do at all of our grade levels is they do a backwards planning. So we look at what's the goal at the end, which in this case might be, we want 5th grade is doing oceans, right? And it goes along with the curriculum Chris was just talking about too, so we can access all of those pieces. So we want to give kids access to that. Some people, the curriculum pieces and endorsement in Fairfax County, teachers, if they are teaching, even if they're teaching in a center, we had some teachers in our center who were just starting the endorsement, but the county does provide that endorsement piece through UVA and Virginia Tech. So there's some coursework. There's also in-service training in art. We have talked to our teams. So one thing we haven't really spoken about is when we start this local level 4, we start with 3rd grade. So next year we will have a 3rd grade local level 4. The following year we'll have 3rd and 4th. So unfortunately, the kids that are older that may qualify, if they do qualify as local level 4, then they will have the choice of going to King Mill or deferring the local level 4 for a year. And you can do that up through middle school, I believe, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes,
and we've had different schools that have deferred. I was at a science, a magnet school, so a lot of our kids that qualified wanted to stay at the magnet school, so they deferred until middle school. So it's not something, if your child qualifies and you say, I'm not quite sure if they're ready for the local level 4, you can defer that placement as well.
We always say that it's almost like you have it in your back pocket. Go to mommy. Go, okay, go to mommy. Sorry about that. This is being recorded, right, Felicia? Great. So you always have it in your back pocket. If you don't think your child's ready for it and you want to wait till 4th grade, you can do it in 4th grade. Same thing in 5th grade. You don't have to retest. You don't have to do anything. It's there for you.
Okay.
And we do have our teachers are going to start. Some are already endorsed in our school. We already have some AAP gifted teachers who have their certificate or certification. And we have opened it up for our teachers 3rd through 6th grade. And we've gotten really good reception. That's the wrong word. Really good. People want to do it. So we want to make sure that we are offering that. Go ahead, Chris, to the next one. So how will local level 4 look at Cardinal Forest? I have to tell you that I told Mr. Hirsch, there's a surprise. This is my nephew, Kingston, who's 2 years old, and he finds his way in all of our staff meetings and things. So we just had to put him in. Okay, go ahead, Chris, to the next one.
Oh, he's rather cute.
We just had to put him in. No, you just had to put him in.
I had to put him in. So these are some options that we have as far as if a school does not have enough local level 4 students that qualify for local level 4, how does that look? So these are some options. Right now, if you look at it, let's say we don't have enough to fill a class. Maybe we only have 12 students that qualified. Then what we can do is we can group all of our eligible students in one class and add additional students to that class. Because remember, we're offering that opportunity. It's still all local level 4 curriculum. So it's not going to be watered down because other students are accessing it. It's still the same curriculum. Another option would be to group 6 to 8 eligible students in 2 different classes and then add students to that class. And the last one is to cluster group eligible students and flexible group students in one subject, kind of like what we do with advanced math right now. So right now, for example, in 3rd grade, we have 3 3rd grade classes, and then students are grouped. If they have advanced math, they go to one particular teacher, and then the other students are taught by the other 2 teachers. I'm going to stop for a minute because we've been talking a lot. Are there any questions? I'm muted. Ms. Kaur?
Yeah, so my question is the selection process, would it be the same? The kids will go through the same committee and, get selected through the same process, or it would be any different?
So you mean the students who do not qualify for local level 4 that are in the class?
No, the student that will be referred in future for AAP and their selection process for the AAP classes or the level 4.
Yes, ma'am. It is the same process, but within that, just like Ms. Fisher was talking about, we have Young Scholars. So the Young Scholars program is a program where we see potential in students possibly from kindergarten on or the end of kindergarten, 1st grade on, and we start developing that. So there are some students who may be in the class where our eligible students are, and they're accessing the curriculum, but they may not have qualified yet for local level 4. Does that make sense?
It does, and I appreciate you guys putting the effort into the kids who do not qualify. Some could just be because the parents do not have enough resources or they're not familiar with the process, the referral process. And giving these kids the opportunity to access these level 4 courses, I think it's kudos on your part. That's all I can say right now.
Can I tap into that just a tad? So I love that you said that access and that parents may not be aware. Please know on our end that I could probably give you 200 scores right now. Every score is looked at closely, first through my eyes, well, probably first through Mr. Hirsch's eyes, secondly through my eyes, and then I have conferences with teachers for every student. So we look at anybody that is flagged with a number, for example, and then those conversations with teachers. So I go to sleep at night, for one, knowing that we have found or caught all students. So we're not leaving anyone behind simply because their families didn't have access or weren't aware. So that's great news to know from behind the door. And also, I think speaking to the local level 4, we've got those students that are eligible for level 4 services are automatically placed into our local level 4 classroom. And then those other students, we have a screening process at Cardinal Forest to determine their best needs. They don't need to go through that intensive process for eligibility for level 4 in order to go into our local level 4. They could be identified with level 3 services or level 2 services, whatever might meet that student's needs. Does that make sense?
Ms. Schubert,
Yeah.
you had your hand up.
Yeah, so it does make sense. I just appreciate it. It's a lot. I know you guys know my older daughter Taveline, and she would have definitely gotten so much out if it was she didn't qualify because I don't know for whatever reason. And if this program was here at that time, I could see like she would have been like much farther. I don't know. Maybe she'll catch up, I guess. I think she's has to play catch up now.
So here's the thing. I was talking about my two sons. My youngest son is actually a better student than the one that qualified for what would be considered the local level 4. He put himself in. He self-selected in middle school honors classes, and he did that all the way through high school. So what we're trying to do at Cardinal Forest is exactly what you said. Whether we're looking at potential, and we're looking at, so there may be a student that, maybe they're a student that is not reading on grade level, but their thinking is so high above, we're going to challenge that student. So our goal, and it's funny because some of you who know Mr. Hirsch and I, the first thing when we got together as an admin pair, and then with Ms. Fisher, we're saying we want everybody to have access. This curriculum is great teaching and all kids deserve access. So that's our ultimate goal.
So with that being said, any grouping, no matter which group we select on this specific slide, any grouping is really only as strong as the differentiation within it. So we have a group of learners and we differentiate within that grouping. When I was teaching the local level grade 3 class, there were twice exceptional students that accessed curriculum differently. They had that right, and that differentiation and that need was met. Yes, Ms. Muna?
Thank you. Ms. Drake, you just mentioned that they can do a self-selection, and I'm wondering how that can happen, or can parents also do a self-selection for their kids? Is that a possibility?
At the middle school level, yes, ma'am. Anybody can self-select at middle school. At our level, what we're looking for, so I'm probably different than Mr. Hirsch and I were so excited that we didn't have to only depend on SOL scores for advanced math this year, because we really wanted to look at what potential we might have a kid, and I'm not trying to make it about me, but my younger son had the desire. And so we're looking at kids from that desire and that potential. So yes, we want kids to advocate for themselves, and we want parents to advocate for your student. But Mr. Hirsch said something very important. sometimes as parents, we push, oh, you're going to be in advanced math, but the kid is like, I'm not there yet. So within our math workshop, all kids will get enrichment, but some kids need that advanced math curriculum.
Yeah, and I will add, my daughter's in 5th grade at a different Fairfax County school. She is not level 4, but she's in a level 4 class because the school only has about a little less than a dozen, and it's actually pushing her to do better, to work harder. And what I do notice, and this is our goal, and I could tell I haven't really spoken to the administration there, but her friends in the other class are doing the same thing. So it's not like we're just going to have a level 4 class and they're going to go do certain things and everyone else is not. What Ms. Drake said is important. We're going to have this access for all. And we have to just take a step back and remember that our 3rd graders are 8 and 9 years old, and giving them the access is important. And the first key to that is having our 3rd grade team aboard. And our 3rd grade team is they are just a fine-tuned machine. This is their 2nd year together, and they just work so well together. And that was important for us. We weren't going to start this if we didn't feel we had the teachers to do this. And they are definitely ready for it. And so that's very, very key to get the program going.
Yeah, I like the idea of access for all. Thank you.
It's important, and we know, just like in anything, one of the things that I think I fought for, as far as AAP, and Mr. Hirsch and Ms. Fisher and all of our teachers have talked about this, is the fact that just because a child qualifies for local level 4 curriculum doesn't mean they're going to be an expert at every single thing. It's not true learning if learning isn't challenging kids. So that's our goal, figuring out what that challenge is and giving kids the scaffolding to achieve. One of the slides talked about community building people, and just like Mr. Hirsch said, if you're in a class where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this PBL, like 2nd grade, for example, they just finished a PBL on collecting toys and they did the research and the advertisement. They were excited. So even kids that may not have been excited about reading that particular book, in order to get the project done, they had to read that book. So we're looking at learning, like we said, cultivating that curiosity. We don't want any kid, and even though you're looking at the slide that says group all eligible students in one class and add additional students, it will not be that class, because we've all been in class before. And I remember when I was in school, the red birds, the blue birds, and the yellow birds, and everybody knew which group was the high group, the medium group, and the low group. That's not our goal. Our goal is that, this little girl in the picture with her brave, strong, and bright shirt on, that she will have the same thing in 3rd grade that the other classes will. It will just be at different entry points. And we are that, and looking at this is probably the model we are going to take, so that we can have that emphasis on one class having all the eligible students, but we're going to ask for your input on some things as well. So this is the time that we have questions for you. If you have questions, you can raise your hand, you can put it in the chat. Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, I'm one of the parents that probably doesn't know a whole lot about the AAP program. Will they end up, should my son end up in this program, will they end up just staying with the same group throughout the rest of elementary school, or?
So because we will have one class right now, just as we get started, there will be a couple of shifts in and out, but like that 3rd grade class, many of those kids, maybe when they get to 4th grade, we decide that we want 2 classes. So somewhat, yes, it does kind of become a cohort. At King Mill, they probably have, I think they have 2 or 3 third grade classes, and then it kind of moves up. So they switch out a little bit, but they will be in the class with some of those students still. Did that answer your question, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'm just, this whole thing's a little, I don't know anything about AAP. So when you were mentioning how everyone knows a little bit about AAP, until I got that email, I didn't really know anything. I had to Google a lot.
Oh, well, good. You're the population we're looking for. As I was kind of glancing down the list. Oh, good, Miss Schubert. I am so excited. So one of the things that we want to do is make sure that everybody is getting this information. So we are so welcome, welcome, welcome. As a previous, I was a special ed teacher for 25 years, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, AAP is not for kids with special ed. AAP is for everyone, because what we're doing with advanced academics is we're challenging students to think more. We're challenging them to be outside of the box thinkers. And so that's what we're going for. The traditional, what some people think of as AAP, oh, they get more work, they do this. That's not what we're going for. We're going for thinking.
Can I jump in here? I had third graders Friday, and I got out of class, and they just about brought me to tears. The problem solving, the self advocacy, the risk taking, just the growth. And our motto, when I work with kids, our motto is fail forward and fail often, and it takes some kind of being immersed in this critical thinking world for these kids to know what that means. And it really, to them, it really does mean take that academic risk, apply what you do know, shake it up a bit, and see what you come out with. And if it didn't work, what did work? What parts were successful? And keep those parts and shake it up again. It just gives kids permission to take those healthy academic risks and to really dig deep. And it's like, our greeting is good afternoon, have you failed forward today yet? Well, let's give it a ride. And we just do. So I think that one way, Mr. Lewis, you can kind of tap into it. We have our monthly newsletters you can tap into. The county's got an incredible AAP website. We've got our Twitter feed that you can take a look at. Just kind of asking your kids what they do during the day, and just listening to some of those times where things are tough and they problem solve. So we're trying to instill that so that they can become effective learners.
So one of the perfect examples, and Ms. Muna, I see your thing. When will families be notified? This is a long process. You probably won't be notified until the spring.
So, but the first step.
Go ahead, Mr. Hirsch.
Yeah. The first step is if you received a letter. Well, I don't know if you received it yet because we sent it through the U.S. mail on Friday, and I have a feeling Thursday or Friday. No, it wasn't email. It was through the U.S. mail.
No, the county sent emails though.
The county sent an email, and then I followed it up with a letter that if you got it, wonderful. If not, it should be coming any day now. That's the first step, and then there's many steps in between. If you have any individual questions about your child's status, I guess is the right word, please give myself or Miss Drake a call, and we could walk you through it. And that's really the whole idea of giving a local level 4, because it's a tough decision for a lot of families. And it used to be, we want to make sure this is about the kids and make sure it's a great place for them. And that's why we're building this program from within. I think it's important that we keep our best. But in turn, we have to show that we can educate them, to reach their utmost potential, and that's our job. Felicia.
So
Can I speak
here's
really quickly? I'm
okay,
sorry,
Chris.
Felicia. I was just going to speak really quickly to that process. So we are going through the level 4 screening process right now, and then those results will come in the spring. And then I will meet with every single teacher to look at scores and assessments and student work samples to see other levels of eligibility that might be best for those kids. There's a lot of teacher discussions for every single child in the school in the spring. And those are that's when those determinations for level 3, level 2, level are happening within school. And then from there, we'll build that cohort or develop that network of students that might best be served with local level 4 services.
So I'm going to end if there are more questions, please stay. But here's an example I just picked up. And let's see, Mr. Lewis, what do you see?
It's hard to see, Felicia.
Should I pop out if I stop?
Yeah.
Why don't you? Yeah, you can take the slide deck down.
Okay.
What do you see, Mr. Lewis?
Nature's something or other. I don't know.
What do you see, Mr. Hirsch?
I can't. Nature's Journey. Is that what it says?
Okay. What do you see, Miss Fisher?
A box.
I see a
box.
There we go. So
I see a box.
most of us would say, I see a box. What we're asking you to do you remember, like I remember my sons when they were little and they would pick up a stick or a box. And some people would be like, that's a stick. What our job is to create that imagination. No, it's a rowboat, it's a paddle, it's a weightlifting. We want kids to look at their education and go further. So that's really, you were saying you didn't really know what AAP was. Miss Schubert.
No, that's not fair. That's not, she can't answer now.
So that's what we're trying to get to. So what we want you to do, and Chris, we do have that last slide. We're going to send out this survey. What can you do to help? You can take a survey. It's going to go out to all parents.
I'll drop it in the chat for now.
Yes. And we want you to answer the survey. It's a very short survey. That's one thing you can do. You can also serve on the parents' local level 4 advisory group. You can also get involved with school events. You can support the teachers. So we know this is a risk. If your child qualifies for local level 4 or for level 4, some of you are like, well, I know what King Mill does. I don't know what Cardinal Forest does, right? And I've been a parent. I've been, I live in City of Manassas, and in 3rd grade, I remember one of my oldest kids saying, oh, we have to move because our kids won't be eligible for TJ if we stay in City of Manassas. I know that people think that way. This is a process. We're new to it, but we are learners just like our kids are, and it will not be a watered down program.
No,
Any
it's
other
the same
questions?
curriculum.
Yeah, same curriculum.
Same curriculum, same training, same resources. It's the same.
Any other questions out there? All right, Mr. Lewis, you get a gold star. Miss Schubert, you get a gold star.
Miss Muna gets a gold star.
Everybody gets a gold star. So we really want to thank you. We're so excited to begin this journey. And I won't even say begin because it sounds, before I got to Cardinal Forest, you all were making steps towards this. Before Mr. Hirsch got here, it sounds like our community has been making steps, but our goal is to make sure that we follow up with action. So thank you so much for joining us. We will post this recording, and If you have other questions, feel free to email us or give us a call. Yes, Miss Muna, I do. That's not going to
No.
happen right now.
No.
30
No.
years and more, this process has been going. But I will say, Miss Muna, it's getting better. I think it's
yeah, yeah. I just told Mr. Lewis that if he wants to record another answer about the box, we can dub it in and we can put a better answer in there for you.